Okay, so this I wrote is called Choose Your Weapons. You have to be very careful how you treat those who keep covenant with God. Spiritual warfare is very real, and God will take very good care of those who belong to Him. If you find yourself in what seems like an impossible situation, you may just be in a spiritual battle. I say this only to those who are of the faith. That being said, I find myself reflecting on just how David perceived his enemies and exactly how he approached his battles. He was, after all, a great warrior, a very successful warrior. I find it very interesting that he had so much favor with Saul that the king was willing to provide his own armor for David to battle in. 1 Samuel 17:38-40. So Saul clothed David with his armor, and he put a bronze helmet on his head. He also clothed him with a coat of mail. David fastened his sword to his armor and tried to walk, for he had not tested them. And David said to Saul, I cannot walk with these, for I have not tested them. So David took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand, and he chose for himself 5 smooth stones from the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. Weaponry is vital to a warrior. He must use what he is skilled with and familiar with. Pay very close attention to what David said as he approached Goliath. 1 Samuel 17, verse 45. Then David said to the Philistine, You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. He compared weapons. It is very plain in this account of the scriptures. Essentially, the Philistine was armed with pride. David was armed with the power of God. Pride will make you fall. Trusting God will give you success and promotion. Not only did David compare weapons, but he made it clear exactly how Goliath would die. Verse 46, This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And this day I will give the carcasses of the camp of the Philistines to the birds of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. It happened exactly as he proclaimed. He went straight for the head. He struck the head, and then he cut off the head with the enemy's own weapon. Verse 49 and 50. And David put his hand in his bag and took out a stone and slung it and struck the Philistine on his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the ground. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. There was no sword in the hand of David. Then David ran and stood over the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of its sheath and killed him and cut off his head with it. Your weapon has a direct impact on whether you succeed or fail. David did not use unfamiliar armor, nor did he defeat the giant in his own strength. He put it directly in God's hands. He made it spiritual. He understood the power of covenant. This was evident in a statement he made prior to his victory over Goliath, when he refers to the giant as an uncircumcised Philistine. Verse 26. For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? You cannot fight a spiritual battle without spiritual armor and spiritual weapons and expect to succeed. Ephesians 6, verse 10 through 12. Finally, Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Choose your weapons wisely. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. It's all about Jesus.